And now this guy thinks she's nuts because she's talking to herself. And Mara hears like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Oh yeah, you're completely nuts." She in no way, shape, or form can relate to this at all. She's such a good mother. Making a drink, experiments on the kids, and leaves the toddler just sitting there waiting to get out of her chair. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is my Sims 4 Let's Play soap opera, The Rich and the Fabulous. In today's episode, we are going to be playing as the Mars/Tanners family. And I know what you're thinking. Why do they live in such a small home? Well, that question is going to be answered for you today. And in fact, I'm about to answer that question right now. It's not so much that they live in this small home, but it's more the idea that they want the neighbors to think that they live in a small, in a small home. The truth is, they actually live in this home, but it's not so much what's in this top portion. It is what's underneath the home. Now, the Mars and Tanners family are scientists. And you may be asking, what is it exactly that they do? Well, science, obviously, but they do so much more than science. So much more. And that is what will be connecting the Mars and Tanners family residents to the Ravenwoods and to the Claren family. Now, I can't specify just exactly how they're linked, but I think you'll probably take a hint at guessing what it is once we go through today's episode. We're going to see what a day in the life of the Mars and Tanners family is like. So why don't we go down into the basement of their home, which is really where their home is located, underground. And as you'll see, there's a whole portion here where their home is located. And right now, this is Mara Mars. See? She, along with her husband, are scientists. I wouldn't go as far as to call them ethical scientists, but I wouldn't go as, short as to say they're not mad scientists in some way. They have quite a collection of instruments, as you can see here, and they love to perform lots of experiments. Now, I must tell you that Mara Mars and her husband, Ren Tanners, were scientists that somehow drove each other crazy to the point where they wanted to perform nothing but experiments, and their life is nothing about experiments. Well, what do mad scientists want more than anything in the whole world? Well, if you can get into this one's brain, you will know that what she wants more than anything, along with her husband, is they want to be able to live forever so that they can perform all the experiments that they want nonstop for eternity, as would any scientist who's, crazy. Well, the Mars and Tanner family, the scientist parts, Mara and Ren, they got a hold of some vampire DNA, thus injecting themselves with it, going from normal human mad scientist to vampire, you know, scientists who are mad. And so now they have all the powers of a scientist, or they have all the powers of a vampire, but the minds of scientists who, like I've said before a million times, who are mad. And their experiments that they perform, you're probably asking, what exactly is their experiments that they perform? Well, besides, building stuff and looking through DNA and collecting God knows what, they also like to perform an anatomical experiments. And you might be wondering who they perform those experiments on. Why, none other than their own children. They perform experiments on Rita Mars, who's right here, and her brother Bison Tanners. They had to name them because, well, they accidentally, got somewhat close to the children, and so they named them. But rest assured that these children are indeed only their recent children in their line of children experiments. Now, you're probably asking what type of experiments do they do on the children? Nothing horrible like dissecting them. It's more like they have cloned these children from their original batch of children who we can't say they died. It's more like an experiment that didn't come out right. Or as they say, an experiment that failed. But lucky enough, these children survived those initial experiment stages of cloning. And so this is their bedroom here. Now they have, toys and stuff and videos to watch, but it's not the original, like, children's toys. It's stuff that shapes their brain. And they monitor the kids' sleep, what they play with, what they look at, and how they go to the bathroom, and they monitor their feeding times, all because they want to make sure that these clones are viable in a long line of clones if they ever decide to make these clones for sale, for organ harvesting, or for people who need children. Later on, you will see how these children are linked to the Ravenwood family. I'm not going to, give you any spoilers. You can guess on your own, but that storyline will come out soon enough. So anyways, we're going to look to see how they monitor the children, and the children will always wear white and gray uniforms because they are not to be treated like normal children, and because we have to remember that these children are indeed, at the end of the day, experiments. They are nothing more than science experiments for the, family to experiment on. And that's all that these children are to them. I mean, somewhere deep down inside, they probably love them, but I don't think we really know that for sure. So let's see what Rita, or Mara, is up to. Sorry, their kids Rita and Bison. Again, I won't bother to remember their names, and you shouldn't either. I mean, unless you want to get attached, but they're just experiments to Ren here and his wife Mara. They're just experiments, and that's all they'll ever be. So let's follow them and see what she's up to. Looks like she wants to go hug her husband to let him know that great work is being accomplished. And I'm sure she's probably curious what the update is on the children. even though she didn't quite get one. But she's going back to work. She's like, I don't have time for this. Science awaits us. Now, for Ren, we're going to have him brainstorm for a little bit. And then we might have him tinker. Rita Mars, she's pretty cool. How does she know about the children? Oh, and I forgot to mention before I go off and show you other stuff, these kids are not allowed to leave past this initial, what I call the bottom floor. They are not allowed to go past this point because, again, they can't have the neighbors knowing that they're running all these experiments to find out what the kids' minds are like and what their DNA tells them. I shouldn't say that they don't run anatomical tests on the children. They do. They like to change their eye colors, their hair color every now and again. They like to give them tumors and then try to cure it through cancer and stuff because, again, they're mad scientists and they do mad scientist things. But nothing super bad like where they inflict pain on the children or anything like that. So they're not exactly in harm's way at all. Anyways, we're going to have Mara go outside. But first we have to get her in her everyday clothes. And yes, they do have everyday clothes because they are not going to go outside in their science outfits. They have to make everyone think that they're just everyday people like everyone else. And everyday people wear everyday clothes. Okay, let's change Mara. See? Everyday mom clothes. Except nobody knows she's a mom. Except for that one alien girl who called us, but I don't know how she knew. She's getting too close. You'll have to do something about it. What did you get in the mail today? Congratulations on starting your element collection. To really show them off, consider purchasing an element display rack. Trust me, she's got so many elements down there, she don't need a real element collection. All right, let's see who's in the neighborhood that we can talk to and pretend to get along with. Who's this? Tonya Ayers. I don't think she lives in this neighborhood, so there's no need to try to impress her and make her think we're normal. We need to get somebody who's actually in the neighborhood and lives here. And Erica Rose does not live here either. Let's see, neither does Jim Weston. God, where are all the people who live in this neighborhood? We have to impress them and make them think we're normal. After all, it's not like we're running science experiments in our basement home, because that would be weird. That would be weird and odd. And none of these people live here. None of these people. But you know what? We'll come over here anyways and we'll introduce ourselves to her. We'll do a friendly introduction. And nobody's going to notice a vampire running at all. See, she has green hair. She looks kind of like the woman who called us. Let's see. Let's ask about her day. How her day's going. Say, oh yeah, the weather's great. I don't at all have children in my basement I perform experiments on a daily basis. I'm not a weirdo. Compliment her outfit. And because she's now a vampire, we'll compel for a drink. Although I just remembered it's probably not going to work because you're outside and it's not nighttime. So let's hypnotize her so that she'll think it was all hallucination, that she's on benzos or something. Yeah. And now this guy thinks she's nuts because she's talking to herself. And Mara here's like, oh yeah. She's like, oh yeah, you're completely nuts. She in no way, shape, or form can relate to this at all. You know, the being nuts or performing scientific experiments on children. Anyway, she's going to come over here and she's going to decorate her house. And so we'll see what it looks like after she comes over here to decorate. And we'll see what it looks like afterwards, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, and we're back. So she's decorated her home in this Christmas getup because she wants everybody to, think that, oh, they're normal people, like what normal people do. Putting on airs of Christmas and stuff, even though no one else in the neighborhood is doing anything about Christmas. No winter holiday, solstice, nothing. No winter holidays, nothing. Even though they are, and they're putting it all on. She's putting on a show because she doesn't want anybody to know that her and her husband perform science experiments on children inside the basement of their home. That's why she is pretending to, put out these decorations. Their decorations are tacky and also don't really seem to fit. Although that one does because it's made out of dirt and sand. But for the most part, it's just out of place. Oh, and as you see, she decorated their lab with a Christmas tree that kind of fits the very stale, very lab-looking room. I also forgot to mention that the family's really rich, as you can see, and they have lots of money, and that's because they use their science experiments to sell to the highest, richest person, like formula creams to look young out of the vampire serum that doesn't turn them into vampires, but is made out of the, vampire serum, DNA and stuff. And then they sell the technology that they invent to many people, as well as alien DNA, as you can see. Lumina Galaxy. Hey, I heard you became friends with Rita Mars. She's pretty cool. Oh no, this woman is getting on to us. We must text this woman back. We have got to find out what it is she wants. Lumina. Well, we know she's an alien. Let's send her a text. She has to monitor their eating habits, because the kids are not allowed to have certain foods because it could affect their science experiment. And that's why she doesn't really look at them, because she cannot treat them like human children, because they're nothing to her. These children are nothing to her. The one good thing is that the twins have each other, because if they didn't, they would be dead. After talking with the experiments, I'm definitely going to think she needs a drink. She's such a good mother. Making a drink, experiments on the kids, and leaves the toddler just sitting there waiting to get out of her chair. She's like, okay, number two, you may go. Or number one, she doesn't know. She just, one or two, that's why they gave them names, so that they can keep track of who's who. Otherwise, they would never know in this family. I also have this inkling that they're experimenting on these kids to maybe teach them how to grow up to be assassins, potentially, depending on who the highest bidder is that would want to, pay them once the children get old enough to be like in their early adults, stuff like that. This is the family thus far, and this is what they do. Now, in later episodes, I will show you Ren going to work, and more of the children, and Mara running experiments on them to see exactly what kind of experiments. And then later on, it will be revealed just exactly how they know the Ravenwood family. Not Shadow Ravenwood, but her husband's brothers and her husband, as well as the Claren family. That will all be revealed in due time. But I'm sure you guys will guess. If you have any hints or guesses, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But I'm not going to give you any spoilers. So now we're going to go on to the next family before we wrap up today's episode. All in this family right here with Ren experimenting. We'll be back in just a second with the other family I'd like to introduce you today. Although their introduction will be kind of short. Okay, everybody. Here is the other family I was going to show you. This is the Noir family. And on this episode, we're going to end with them today. Now, the Noir family lives in this house, and they kind of run their business out of this house. Now, you may be asking, what is it that they do? Well, Chet here and his brother, Cormac, run a private detection agency or a private investigation agency called SPY, which stands for Sim Private Investigations. And this is their little work area right here. And they kind of own this home, but more or less rent it out. That's why everything looks kind of not so what you would think a bachelor pad would look like. But this is their living room. This is their little office nook. This is where they have company and have parties and stuff, and their bathroom and their kitchen. And here is their bedroom, which they share together. It's kind of like an open floor plan. Here's Chet's bed and here's Cormac's bed. Anyways, Chet's going to get on the computer here, and he's going to take the first case that he comes across. Okay, sorry guys, I don't know what was going on. I tried to get him to get on the computer, but he wouldn't get on the computer. I think it had something to do with the chair. But anyways, finally, he's going to get on the computer. He's going to open up his, email and stuff, and he's going to check his career logs to see if anybody's emailed him and his private detective agency called SPY, which stands for Sims Private Investigations, which is him and his brother's private investigation. His brother and his private investigation firm. There we go. I don't know why that was so hard to say, but anyways, he's going to check that while his brother here is watching I guess Teen Wolf. Chet's the one here is the one who does like the private investigating, like goes and talks to people and stuff like that. And his brother Cormac is the one who does the like computer work, looking at people online, tracking the money trails and stuff like that. Chet's going to get an email from Shadow Ravenwood, who wants him to look into, the Ravenwood background and find out what they're all about, because the family's kind of hush-hush with her. And as you can see, he's currently, emailing her and chatting with her about stuff. See? And she's going to pay him money out of her own personal account to sit and, investigate the family along with all the stuff that they're hiding, because they're not being upfront with her and she wants to know what's going on and no one will tell her anything. So he's currently chatting with her online going, "Sure, I'll take up your services, Mrs. Ravenwood." And she's chatting back going, "I want this done privately. I only want you to come to me with the information and I will, pay you very good for the services." And he's like, "Sure, I can do that," because he's going to take her case. And this is where the storyline really gets juicy, because from here on out, Chet and his brother Cormac Noir are going to reveal the secrets of the Ravenwood family, along with some other people in this soap, The Rich and the Fabulous. And he's getting excited because somebody rich is paying him to do something that he's really good at. I'll leave this soap on a high note with them getting a job to do some private investigating of the Ravenwood family, and along with anybody that they may be attached to. And I will say that the only reason Shadow wants to know all this is because the Ravenwood family is being very secretive with her, and she's very open, and she doesn't quite know the family that she married into, but she wants to. So I will end on the Noir brothers watching TV as the high note. And thank you for watching, and I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. And tune in next time, guys, for another episode of The Rich and the Fabulous. See you next time. Bye, guys.